We've got Chukudi Okoli Abuja with us this morning. Good morning, Chukudi. Good to have you.
Morning. How are you doing?
Very well. Welcome.
And my brother, how are you doing as well?
I'm doing great.
You look great.
Thank you.
And I see that you've worked on the beard a little. It's okay.
Like you read my mind, like I told him this morning.
Yeah, Ray. I thought you would not notice.
I did. I already mentioned it.
That was the first time she's
All right. Let's take a look. By the way, men, appreciating men on the show this morning. Fantastic. Taking a look at the front pages of... I'm not jealous. I'm just stating, so just in case it's the turn of the women tomorrow.
Okay.
Taking a look at the headlines on the front pages of the papers this morning, we have the New Telegraph to begin with, and the lead story here says ex-Sokoto governor will seek permission from bandits to farm in our lands. The writer says terrorists allocate farming portions to landowners, warns food security mirage unless insecurity is addressed. Details on page 4. We seek permission from bandits to farm on our lands. All right, away from that, we have alleged abuse of office. Emefiele questions court's jurisdiction to try him. That's also on page 4. Beside that story, we have court threatens to dismiss case against Tukru Mamu. That's the terrorist negotiator seeks transfer from DSS custody to Kuje facility. We also have this on sports. NFF appoints Finidi George as head coach of the Super Eagles. And cheering one for workers. Of course, this is for workers in Edo State. Basaki raises minimum wage to 70,000 naira. Names Labour House after Oshomole. All right, you want to find out what's going on? Page 26 would guide you. Above that, above the masthead, actually, we have financial sector's loss to fraud rises by 23% to 17.67 billion naira. Below the picture story, right here on the front page of the New Telegraph, we have federal government must reverse electricity tariff hike. Senate insists. Writers, Nigeria needs $10 billion yearly to revive power sector. That's according to the minister. And NERC deregulates meter prices for discos under MAP scheme. Details on pages 2 and 5 of the New Telegraph. And we also have, finally, businesses, commuters suffer as fuel scarcity worsens. All right, that can be found on pages 7 and 29. Just before I turn away from the New Telegraph, there's this one on JAMB. It says 2024 UTME JAMB withholds probe 64,624 candidates results. Releases 1,842,464. All right, let's look at the leadership quickly now. The leadership has a different headline, and it's supply glitch worsens fuel scarcity nationwide. Details on page 4. Riders, we have not had supplies in 2 weeks, according to marketers. Petrol queues linger. Motorists, commuters stranded. If crisis persists, we will intervene. That's the Senate. NNPCL keeps mum. Interesting. All of that's on page 4 of the leadership. In the blue strip, we have this one coming from Yaga Africa, and it says Tinubu's stance on electoral reforms unclear. Details on page 21. Beside the lead story on the front page of the leadership, we have EFCC pro-Yahaya Bello protesters clash in Abuja. Only 108 senators can decide Ningi's fate, according to the Senate. That can be found on page 8. Ganduje probe. Kano Commission seeks useful information. And we have court stops multi-choice from increasing DSTV Go TV rates. Details on page 20. And finally this morning, we have this one coming from the Power Minister. Don't pay new tariff without 20 hours electricity. Now that's to band A customers. What happens to band B, C, D, and E? All right.
How do we?
Ademola.
But that's impossible. You know why? Because
it's a prepaid.
Yeah, it's prepaid. So you can.
You ask for a refund.
So how do we ask? Anyway, I have the Daily Trust newspaper with me here, and below the nameplate, Uni Abuja female student died in accident. Family. That story can be found on page 6. Forex deals. CBN stops 4 fintechs from onboarding new customers. Details on page 19. NFF appoints Finindi George as Super Eagles head coach. Details can be found on page 31. And the major headline, it's why petrol scarcity persists. Marketers, work resumption disrupted in Lagos, Ogun. Transporters hike fares. Details on page 4. And federal government to Nigerians accept tariff hike or total blackout. Senate kicks. Details on page 6. Bandits sacked me from my 10,000 hectares farm, Bafarawa. Page 25. 4 killed as gunmen attack mourners in Enugu community. The details can be found on page 24. An ASP syndicate arrested over abduction of 5 minors. Details on page 5. Let me ask Chooks,
Yes.
how did you get to this place this morning, in spite of this fuel scarcity?
2 days ago, I bought black market petrol for 1,300 per liter. But yesterday, I was lucky. A filling station on the Karishi access was dispensing at 910 per liter. So I bought some fuel. I pray that will take me till Friday because affording it is becoming practically impossible.
I pray that prayer. I pray that prayer works.
Yeah, you pray the prayer works.
You said you pray the fuel takes you, so I'm saying
yes.
that prayer.
I just pray because I mean we will tell you that this job does not fail. You know.
We shouldn't be going through this kind of,
Yeah. You see, when the word logistics was dropped as a problem, the first time we saw this, I said everything gets, pushed under logistics, and you're left to wonder what logistics is really all about. Nobody has offered concrete, talk or comment, definitive talk about why this is happening. Supply.
has not even spoken.
And
Nobody is saying
that is
anything.
the aspect I hate the most.
nobody is saying
Developing
anything.
economies, whether we like it or not, have some inevitabilities. This is one of them. But communication, when we meet this, the way you handle it helps the people go through it or return consternation for whatever is happening. You must tell the people that nobody's looking for anybody's head. Sack this or sack that person. But actually, certain things should not be said in these times. Is it that the trucks no longer can ply the road to take the fuel to their destinations? Dangote Refinery is saying that AGO, which the trucks really run on, they hardly use petrol, is coming down. So what is the action that reflects this goodwill coming from the new refinery? We just have to sort out a few things about us so that life begins to sound more meaningful. I can't explain this scarcity. I don't work in NPCL, but I should have the privilege of knowing concretely that this is what caused it. Don't leave the people guessing. That is the annoying aspect of it. Not really 130 naira per liter. Is it 1,300 naira per liter? I mean, certain things you have to go through them, but not being told is annoying. It's annoying. We should have left that stage a long time ago as a people. But then that takes me to the good news that sabotage of the economy is becoming something that we are not likely to see anymore. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu is saying that our economy has gone beyond phase of sabotage. And I like that because not a few people will be happy to hear this if you ask me. The impression generally is that prices, inflation, and other factors that make life hard in Nigeria are simply things you can't control. But look at how the foreign exchange came down from 1,600 to about 1,300 now. That means that there was sabotage in the system because our importation strength has not suddenly increased. Remember that the strength of your currency is directly relevant to what structure you have in terms of sending things, import and export, balance of trade and all that. My economics is not very good. So sabotage was actually the reason. And when the government cracked down on BEDCs at a point, people were talking and all that. They even mentioned how cryptocurrency dealers could also be part of the problem. So these acts of sabotage, we need to locate them, identify them, and really tell people, no, you can't take us on this train because it's going to give us a rough ride. You understand? I really appreciate what's coming out there.
I think we're making progress, actually.
And to make sure that I leave a little annoyance, you know, in the direction of Nyere, let them make sure that nobody's sabotaging anything in agriculture. Because it's food first. After oxygen, water is food. Security is also somewhere there, you know. For instance, the price of fertilizer, I think I priced 2 days ago, it was 35,000 they told me for a bag. Is that the realistic price? Is that the best price you can get, for instance? Are there middlemen that make it higher and all that? It would amount to sabotage of the economy if something is happening. I'm not saying.
Of course, you should know that something is happening in the agricultural sector because we have portfolio farmers.
You a farmer?
We have portfolio farmers.
Like me to talk about farms. Please.
I know about portfolio farmers, so maybe that's why. You know. Anyways, you know, talking about farming, there's this worrisome story about you know, farmers seeking permission from bandits to go to their farms.
No.
Yeah, when you begin to talk about one matter on and on and on, at a point it becomes so unpalatable. You don't want to hear it anymore.
Right?
Now, I am not indicting our military, I'm not indicting the security forces. But if you keep telling us 1,000 bandits neutralized, 100 insurgents done, and yet people in some of our northern states cannot sleep with both eyes closed. You begin to ask, where are these other people materializing from? Are they so uncountable that as you neutralize them, more are pouring in? There's a disconnect somewhere. There's a disconnect somewhere, and we had better work on it, because these are human beings like us. In Zamfara, in Meduguri, and the rest of it, you know?
Yeah.
They need to, this is the time to farm. If they can't farm, you are endangering lives.
Yeah.
Hunger is not a good prospect for
it's
anyone.
not. Okay, just 1 minute. NFF appoints Finidi George as Super Eagles head coach.
You didn't put the adjective, you know, Ernesto Conco, you know, always prepost. Gangling Finidi George.
Oh, okay.
Gangling Finidi George. It makes you remember Chief Justice, I must say, Maker in those days. Then Okorowanta, Okpodu, they had a way of playing football. Gangling Finidi George. I didn't actually know he was part of Pereiro. What's the name of the coach?
The last one.
Pesero, thank you. I didn't know he was part of the coaching team.
No, it's the assistant, actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I like George. And I pray that George is going to... there's something we say in the phonetics class. George is a good judge. The good judge is George, you know, to contrast between two different vowels.
And I like you too, Chuks, for keeping it, you know, safe and, you know, within time. So
okay.
I'll just draw it like that.
We pray that George becomes a good judge of football.
Football. Exactly.
Okay, all right, Chuks, thank you. Thank you. We have to go now.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so we take a break. Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.